So in this video, I want to talk about diversifying. Should you really be doing it? Some things to think about. There's definitely no right or wrong answer, but here are my thoughts about diversifying. I've actually covered this topic before on this channel, but I thought I'd revisit it here today because I've recently seen some people talking about this, so I thought I'd, jump in the mix here and give my take on diversifying. Now, if you have watched my past videos for the last, I would say 6 months to a year, it becomes extremely obvious that I don't diversify at all. I don't. This is something that has, I guess recently, I guess become a thing for me because in the beginning, when I started investing about 4 years ago, I did diversify. I bought a little bit of everything because that's what I was told was a good thing. You never know what's going to happen. So just buy a little bit of everything so you'll cover the things that go up a lot, even the things that go down a little bit or maybe don't do as well. It all averages out. And that's definitely a point to be made that diversifying is good. But I've recently come to the realization why? Why diversify? Why? Why do it? Now, obviously, it's to reduce risk, right? That's a big thing with diversifying. But here's the way I've recently, like in the past year or so, sort of thought about it. Pokemon. Pokemon is not traditional investing, guys. It's not stocks. It is nothing like that. Okay, we're talking about a collectible that has artwork on it. Okay, this is not stocks. So in that way, I'm like, okay, why are we talking about diversifying with, Pokemon cards? To me, it's very different because yeah, with stock stuff, there's so many factors to the company, all these things you don't know about. So therefore, diversifying, not knowing all these things is probably a good idea. But Pokemon, there's something with this space that I feel like is pretty predictable. The biggest thing I see pretty much without fail, if you use as data, okay, is this a good set or not? Is it going to be a good investment long term? Is there's a few factors, but a big one being the chase cards. Guys, when have we ever seen a set that has a extremely popular chase card, a generational chase card, perform bad in the long term? You guys tell me, have we ever seen that? A generational card that since release, right, was perceived to be generational. Maybe okay. I've thought of something maybe like Shining Face Charizard. Okay, but there's some maybe caveats. But let's say in somewhat recent history, maybe besides like booms and stuff when things are all inflated, when have we seen generational cards, artworks that are generational, where the sets perform bad? We've never seen that. The biggest one I can give an example of from back then with Sword and Shield was Evolving Skies. I know things were pumped up. Darkness Ablaze was pumped up. Vivid Voltage was pumped up. Okay, but when we talk about the overall, Evolving Skies was the biggest topic in Sword and Shield. It outperformed everything because of the Umbreon VMAX. Okay, that's what I'm trying to get at. Generational cards. Okay, let's move on to the most recent examples. Scarlet and Violet. There are many examples I can give here, but there's just a few. I didn't include like Paldean Fates or 151, but those are, you can also include here. Paldea Evolved. Right now, the most expensive booster box in Scarlet and Violet. Why is it the most expensive? What is, why is it so expensive? Obviously, value is a big, key player here too. But the top chase card is one of the most iconic cards in this era. The Magikarp Illustration Rare, one of the most iconic cards. It's very expensive to 10. This is where value comes in play too, right? Very expensive to 10. Very expensive raw too. It's about a little bit over $300. But it's one of the most iconic artworks, one of the most popular cards in Scarlet and Violet. And why it's, the most expensive booster box right now. And in the long term, it probably is going to be a top performing booster box, right? Prismatic Evolutions. Obviously, it's relatively new, right? It's about to be a year old, so it's like 9 months old now. What does this set have going for it? Obviously, it has all the other evolutions, but the top chase card, kind of, you could say similar to Evolving Skies, it's Umbreon. This one some people call Umbreon, whatever. It's over $1,000. PSA 10 over 4,000. It's an iconic card. Deaths and Rivals. has the Mewtwo. Obviously, this artwork was somewhat controversial before being released, but after being released, it gained a lot of popularity. It's now what, like $400 or $500? I haven't checked in a while. Pokemon investing. Obviously, you can diversify. I'm not trying to put this as against diversifying because some people may have weird ideas of what a good set is, right? But if you just invest in two sets that have iconic cards from the era that are obviously iconic, like these listed, you can't really go wrong. Like I said, when have we ever seen a set that has an iconic card from the era that's performed bad? I can't think of anything. Obviously, like I said, there's caveats where there's booms and then these cards like that, maybe weren't all that great or like extremely expensive, and then they go down. Like, okay, there's examples of that. But if you look at recent examples of these sets that have been the top performing sets in the era, Pally Evolved, like I said, most expensive booster box. Destiny Rivals, second most expensive booster box in Scarlet and Violet. Prismatic Evolutions, obviously it's a little bit hard to compare because it's much newer. There's been a lot more printed than like 151 ETBs or Paldean Fates. So it's a little bit hard to say that. But these are like top performing sets. Why are they top performing? Because of the top chase card. It's really, to me, it's so simple. Investing in a Pokemon is just investing into the most popular stuff. And I know there's a saying, and I've always said this, and I don't really agree with it to some extent. Invest what people aren't investing into. There's some truth to that statement. Some truth. Like Prismatic Evolutions, when everybody wasn't doing it because everyone thought everything was going to MSRP. Okay, that's an example, right? Maybe you should be doing that. But in some cases, I don't believe so. Should you be investing in Shrouded Fable? Should you be investing in Stellar Crown? Nobody's really investing into those guys. I don't think there's some things that I think are said in the space that aren't really true. That's one of the things. I truly believe. I mean, there's going to be, invest, and this is my philosophy. Invest into stuff where 9 times out of 10, it's going to work out. It's going to be a top performer. And what things fall into that category? Top sets, popular sets. How can you go wrong with Paldea Evolved? With the Magikarp? How can you go wrong with Prismatic Evolutions with Umbreon? How can you go wrong with Destiny Rivals being Team Rocket themed and having a Mewtwo? How can you go wrong? 151, Charizard, Gen 1 set, Paldean Fates, Bulbamew, very iconic card. How can you go wrong? Yes, can taste change over time and everything, completely shifts? Sure, but generally that doesn't really happen. If anything, what can happen, some cards more, can maybe gain popularity. But when have we seen iconic cards really fall off, in the long term? Other than like the examples, like I said, like Vivid Voltage, like we're not talking about that because that's not really relevant. We just haven't, right? Paldea Evolved with the Magikarp has been pretty consistently popular. Right, obviously Paldea Evolved in the very beginning wasn't popular of a set, but when Scarlet Violet was more accepted, it became more popular. The Umbreon EX, obviously, it's very expensive. Destiny Rivals, the Mewtwo, wasn't very popular at the beginning. Like, it was controversial. Has gotten more expensive. I think the formula is simple here. It's invest into the popular sets that have the most iconic cards, that have good set value, that has nostalgia. That's literally it. It's such a simple formula. But like I said, I'm not against really, if you want to diversify, I get it, right? Because it's the thing that's preached in the space to diversify because you don't know what's going to happen, right? That's always the argument. You don't know what's going to happen. But like I said, you look at Pokemon history, it's pretty predictable. It's pretty predictable. And, therefore, are you really going to buy, and let's say whatever your budget is on Pokemon, are you really going to diversify into every single set and spread your budget over Shrouded Fable, Stellar Crown? Obviously, if you bought any of those when things were extremely cheap, you would have done well. But I'm talking about long term here in terms of growth and how they're going to perform in the future. Why? Is it possible Shrouded Fable pops off in the future? Is it possible? That's the thing. It's always the word like, is it possible? Anything's possible. Seriously, anything's possible. But what is the most probable outcome? No, right? Okay, I mean, we can give examples here of like sets like, okay, Battle Styles, Vivid Voltage, Darkness Ablaze, Rebel Clash. Have those gone up? Sure. But percentage and relative to all the other sets, the better sets, Evolving Skies, Fusion Strike, Lost Origin, they have not performed anywhere near as well in the time frame. And this is the stuff that I'm, trying to get at here. It can be extremely easy if you just follow a simple formula of investing in popular, high value, nostalgia sets. It doesn't always have to be high value, but nostalgic, popular sets. That's the biggest thing. And most iconic cards. That's literally what I do. And what I've recently, the past year have done. This whole diversifying thing, I don't agree with, in my opinion. But if you do it, like I said, I'm not against it. I understand that perspective. Anything can happen. But when we're investing into collectibles and things, and in my opinion, I feel like are pretty predictable. It's not like a stock or something. In my opinion, it's the why. It's like, why invest in a Shrouded? Why invest in a Stellar? Why? Just my opinion. Like I said, if you guys have watched my videos, recently, you guys know I don't, diversify. It's for this exact reason. It's like, why do it? It's so obvious some of these are going to perform, and why spend money elsewhere where it's like maybe that 0.1% chance it outperforms? Why do that? Why take that 0.1% chance when with these it's pretty certain it's going to happen? They're going to perform. Just my take. But what do you guys think about this? Do you diversify? Do you not? Let me know what you guys do. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.